I thought I'd do a reaction video to the new Blue Beetle trailer. As a massive fan of Blue Beetle, I wanted to try and do a first reaction. I did a first reaction, but I forgot to turn the microphone on. So this is my second reaction to the same video. Maybe I'm going to catch some of the stuff that I missed the last time. Right now, I was going to say I'm a big Blue Beetle fan. I'm a massive fan of Blue Beetle, but I was more of a fan of the second Blue Beetle, who was Ted Kord. There was Dan Garrett originally in the golden age, the 40s, I believe he started, and then in the 60s we first had Blue Beetle, and he went on to DC in the 80s. He started off at Charlton Comics. I don't know when the original one started, before Charlton, but the second one, Ted Kord, first started in Charlton, and we came over to DC in the 80s, and I had the first DC run of Blue Beetle, and that was one of my favourite characters at the time. The first run that I ever got from the issue 1 to the last issue. In fact, I wasn't even aware that comic books ended, because I was like, every time I went in the shops, all the same comic books were always there. So the first time I realised that comic books didn't go on forever. It was rather silly of me. What can I say? But yeah, let's watch this. Watch this video. Yeah, I think it's a film. I know it's a film now. For some reason, I thought it might have been a TV series, but I believe it's a full film. I'm not sure when it's going to actually air, but yeah, we'll see in the video, I think. So let's kick off.
Excuse me, Mr. Reyes?
So there's Jaime Reyes. The original Blue Beetle was Dan Garrett said, and Ted Kord was the second one. Ted Kord was one I liked the most. He got killed by Max Lord, and there was a Scarab which originally gave powers to Dan Garrett. For some reason, they wouldn't give any powers to Ted Kord, and then they worked with Jamie Reyes again. But from what I've seen of the trailer already, seems to have gone completely away from any Egyptian. I'm not even sure if the first and second Blue Beetle are even going to get a mention. We're not too sure if they're actually gonna talk about him being a legacy character or not, or whether he's gonna be like played as the very first time this character, this Blue Beetle, has ever existed. I guess it will, because it's not really like a full fleshed out universe, the old movies that the comics are. So in the comics, I don't suppose they mention any of the stuff that happened when he got hold of the scarab in the first place. But yeah, I'll just let you watch it. You've probably watched it already if you've got any sense.
You finished scraping the gum off that lounger or what?
So there you go. Bit of a comedy aspect to it, so it's always obviously going for one of those, because sometimes they say DC is too straight, too serious. This seems like already like a bit more Marvelish. You've already a gag in the first seconds of the trailer. The very first thing is sitting there looking like he's some kind of playboy or something, but in fact he's just the cleaner. But also, he seems older than what I thought of him from the comic books. I did read quite a few of his run. I think I had about 2 series of actual that Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. But he seems older to me, because in the comic books he was at school. He was still in college or whatever, university, where they call it there in America. I would have said about 16 or something like that. But this guy looks, I don't know, maybe early 20s. I'm not too sure. I'm not good at telling ages. But anyway, let's carry on. DC Comics. Right, yeah, I love Palmyra City. In the comics, El Paso is where he comes from. So I don't know if Palmyra City is part of El Paso, but or whether they've made up a new fictional town for the sake of this film. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure of the geography of El Paso, near Texas, isn't it? No, it's part of Texas, I believe. Yeah, it is. First of all, I thought I was going to crash into that building for a little while, because when it first came up, I thought it was a bit too close, but no, apparently not. It's fine. No plane crashes yet.
Everything right now feels so out of reach.
You always land on your feet, bro. You're Jaime.
Right, yeah, in the comics, yeah, he had a little group of mates that he hung out with. He had a girl that I think there was a possibility, if there was a possible relationship. There was a big sort of jock kind of guy. He wasn't the smartest tall, but he had good heart of gold, and he was the tough kid of the crowd. I can't remember the rest of. There wasn't a huge amount of them, but there was a few of them that used to hang out a lot. I can't remember if they knew his super. Did they know? I think the kids knew actually that he had the superpower suit. I can't remember now. Anyway, let's just carry on. Yeah, he's going for a job interview, obviously. So he's definitely older than he was in the comics.
They don't get out much. Jenny?
Right. There was a little K in the corner there. I was wondering if it could be called Industries, because when I watched it before, it suddenly dawned on me it could be like a throwback to the original, well, not the original, but the second Blue Beetle, Ted Cord. Maybe he's gone for a job interview at Cord Industries, something like that. But it's possible.
Guard, that's your wife, but do not open it.
You went in to get a shot.
Yeah, someone sneaked him some kind of thing inside a big belly burger box. And I know this is the Scarab, because I've seen this already. The Scarab is what gives him his powers. But I say in the comic books, originally Dan Garrett had it, and it was an Egyptian artifact that gave him magical superpowers. Ted Cord, it wouldn't work for Ted Cord for some reason. Then later on, during a crisis event, just after Ted Cord had been killed, there was an explosion of magical items, I think, and it went flying. It found, I think Jaime was sleeping in bed and it attached itself to the back of his neck. This is not what happens here, as you'll see.
Jobs. And all you brought back was a hamburger?
It's more like alien face hugger.
What the hell is that?
The effects look good
How
though.
did you get it to do that?
I think he likes me.
There you go. Face hugger. He should be dead. That was an almighty blast there, and what the impact he hit that blinking. Ouch! I know I'd be dead if it happened to me.
Greyman.
Yeah, not a fan of the music, must say. Why do we need talking on the music? I don't know. I thought for a minute it might be the Scarab talking to him, but it's not. It's just I'm a headbanger, so I'm not keen on the on that music style. I don't see how it helps. Anyway, carrying on. Main thing is the effects are bloody good. It's very, very close to what you see from the comic books. Very sort of comic book realistic. If those two words actually go together and make sense, and maybe an oxymoron, comic realistic. But yeah, let's just carry on.
What the?
Host acquired.
Who said that? Okay, it's gonna be okay.
I noted when I recorded it before that it's the Beetle armor kind of sounds like a crazy Siri. It's like what's the Alexa? I think it'd be better if it sounded like the 2001 robot. Sorry, Dave, I can't do that. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of like a Siri sounding robot. But yeah, in the comic book, I don't know if this is actually, looking at what I've seen of this so far, it doesn't seem like it's doing the storyline from the comics where the Scarab turns out to be an alien device, and it's basically the idea is it finds a host and it makes the host puts the host under its will, and it uses them to sort of conquer the planet, kind of thing, ready for the Reach, the alien armada, the alien empire to arrive and mop up the pieces, kind of thing. But for some reason it doesn't function properly. I don't know if they're going with that storyline. I should probably use spoilers there, but I don't know if they're going with that storyline or not. But yeah, we shall see. Or maybe we won't see until we see the film.
Re-entry systems ready.
Wait, no. This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. Oh. What is going on?
Kind of reminded me a bit of Spider-Man, where he gets the Iron Spider arm or whatever it's called, where they interjected Iron Man into his origin story. He had that crazy armor that kind of Spider-Man never. Well, I never saw him have it in the comic books anyway, but I thought it took away from Spider-Man a bit, that. But anyway, we're not talking about Spider-Man, we're talking about Blue Beetle. They've got some similarities, I suppose. The insectoid kind of origin, insectoid theme. And also Steve Ditko, who did a lot of art on early Spider-Man, also did the art on the Ted Cord Blue Beetle, the second Blue Beetle for Charlton. Did I mention yet? I've forgotten what I said in this video, what I said in the previous video, but I'm not sure what company that Blue Beetle originally was with. It was Dan Garrett, but it was Charlton when it was Ted Cord Blue Beetle, and then DC took over Ted Cord Blue Beetle from Charlton. Yeah, and anyway. This summer.
It's called the Scarab. It's some kind of world-destroying weapon. It's designed to protect its host. Sometimes it does.
Who's telling that? Is that the woman who gave it to him originally in the box? Because I'm wondering where they got that information from. I thought for a minute it might be one of his friends that he was hanging around with when the scarab sort of attached itself to him. But I can't. The way they were talking with such knowledge, you've got to assume they were. They mentioned. I'm going to go back on that bit. They did mention it was a world. So let's go back on that a little bit and just listen to that again.
It's some kind of world-destroying weapon.
World-destroying weapon. So.
Designed to protect its host.
This ain't what you want.
Sometimes
Okay.
it does what you want, and sometimes it doesn't.
That was a strange way of protecting him. Really, he could have just flown him up in the sky. We saw how quickly it managed to fly him. He could have just flown over the bus. Lucky no one's dead in the bus, really. But I suppose that's just a way of showing that he doesn't control it. He does what he wants to do in a way.
I think I cut a bus in half.
The scarab chose you, but it belongs to me.
Hello, you feel for your family. Makes you weak. That's what
Oh yeah. Alright, that was a bit well better actually, because when I was watching it the first time, I kind of lost track of what was happening. I was kind of like, I don't know, I've actually seen some fighting going on there. I was like, I don't know, my brain missed it. My brain was too foggy and I missed the fight. I couldn't remember actually seeing him fighting anybody. But yeah, but there has been I was thinking it wasn't like a main villain. Didn't see Black as a main villain. The woman speaking could have been La Dama, who was I think the mother of one of his friends. In the comics anyway, I think she had some kind of magical base. She was like a sort of slightly magical based mobster kind of thing. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that was her. I'm guessing the people who are trying to steal the scarab, I didn't know who the bloke was, who looked a bit like Sabretooth. Yeah, I'm guessing that's her troops maybe trying to get the scarab back. We just had a flash there of the ship, a flying ship called the Bug, which is what Ted called the second Blue Beetle used to drive around. So I'm wondering if they go to Cord Industries and get the Bug. What's the Bug all about? Where did they get the Bug from? We'll have to watch it to find out, I guess. Black bloke knows how to fly it.
And you have to figure out what you're gonna do with it.
Whatever you can imagine, I can create.
Let's party.
Nice choice.
That's what
Not sort of like the logo much. Blue Beetle looks like Purple Rain or something like that for some reason. Don't know. It's got the same kind of, in my brain, the same kind of look as the Purple Rain logo. I don't know if I'm just imagining that or not. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I suppose it's all right. The logos go, I suppose. The scarab looks good. Is that everything?
It's like Batman stuff. Batman's a fascist. That's what
August. Coming in August. That's a fair old wait there. A few months to go. But yeah, maybe I'll get around to going to see it at the cinema. I'm so behind. I've not been to the cinema to watch a film since my aunt died a couple of years ago, because I always used to take her with me. I used to take her to every superhero film that come out. I'd take my auntie Anne with me, and I haven't been to the cinema since she died. So maybe I'll go to this one. We'll see. Because I am keen on Blue Beetle, but I much prefer the Ted Cord version because that's the comic books that I read as a kid. I didn't mind Jaime Reyes' version of it. Actually, he was alright. It was cool enough, but yeah, the nostalgia. It doesn't hit the nostalgia bone quite as hard as the Ted Cord version does. But yeah, that guy was flying the ship and also fixing the ship up. I mean, I'm guessing he was like a relative. I don't remember in the comic books like all his family knowing about him being Blue Beetle. I think his friends knew. I think some of the group of his friends knew about it. Now that I'm trying to think about it, but yeah, so it kind of makes it a different dynamic. The fact that everyone seems to know, well, in his group seems to know, so there won't be any of this trying to get away to protect his secret identity. We're not going to get any of that dynamic by the sounds of it. So, but yeah, they all seem to be sort of joining him in the adventure almost. So that's interesting as well. But yeah, I'm not sure. There doesn't seem to be any like massive big bad like baddie. They don't seem to have the Reacher in the comic books are maybe they're looking for a second movie and I hope the Reach will come then. But Yeah, we shall see what happens. Maybe there may be. I bet there's an end credit where there's a massive armada approaching Earth, and yeah, and that's when we find out about the re. I'll keep them in spoiler. I'll have to put spoilers in the description. Right. Anyway, let's see if there's anything else after that. But last August 18th, no, that's it. Just what else do you want to look at? As first look at Blue Beetle. No, we won't do that though. We won't do that. Right. Yeah, that'll be enough. Hopefully the second attempt has worked. I'm not sure if I said better things or worse things than I said the first time. I was kind of a bit of both, really. But anyway, cheers for watching. If you're going to check the Blue Beetle movie out, then I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to leave any of your thoughts on the video, telling what you think is going to happen in the movie, then by all means do so. I will, I'll try and make more. Now I've got this thing on this laptop that actually works for doing this little in corner video face thing. Look, it's my face in the corner. Then maybe I'll make some more trailer reactions. Anyway, cheers for watching. Goodbye.